Welcome to Fascinating Planet. Today, we're jumping into some scientific breakthroughs that are genuinely blurring the lines, really transforming what we thought was possible.
Absolutely.
We're going to look at things like artificial blood, maybe even superhuman vision, mind-controlled pain relief, and nature-inspired artificial eyes. It's quite a lineup.
It really is. And these are, well, truly astonishing solutions, aren't they? You
Mhm.
see this blend of biology, engineering, technology.
Mhm.
It's not just about curing things anymore, it seems. It's actually about expanding what humans can do.
Yeah.
It's quite astounding.
Okay, so where should we start? Maybe with something incredibly vital like artificial blood.
Let's do it. A really fundamental need.
Right. So I read about scientists in Japan creating this synthetic blood, and the headline grabber is universal compatibility for all blood groups.
Yeah, that's the key.
Uh,
Imagine the impact.
It could potentially eliminate those emergency shortages you hear about, when they desperately need O negative or something specific.
Exactly. And the science behind it's pretty clever. They're using hemeromin, that's the oxygen carrying bit from expired blood,
Okay.
and they basically package it, encapsulate it into artificial red blood cells. But crucially, they leave out the components that normally cause immune rejection.
Ah, so no need for matching blood types in a rush.
Precisely. No compatibility testing needed right there in the emergency. That's a huge logistical leap forward.
And the shelf life. This part blew my mind. Regular donated blood lasts, what, about 42 days refrigerated?
That's right. 42 days, and you need constant refrigeration.
This artificial version, they're saying 2 years at room temperature.
2 years room temp
Yeah.
and potentially up to 5 years if it's kept refrigerated. It's just a different world.
That's a total revolution for global health, surely. Think about remote areas, disaster zones.
Oh, absolutely. It changes everything for those situations. You don't need the cold chain. The storage is simpler. It lasts so much longer.
So where are they with this? Is it actually being used?
Well, human trials started back in 2022. They began with small doses, mainly focused on safety.
Makes sense.
And since March 2025, they've apparently been progressing to larger, more clinically relevant doses, like 400 milliliters.
Okay, so moving forward.
Yeah. If everything goes well, the hope is maybe widespread use around 2030. Though it's worth noting, other teams globally are working on similar things too. It's a really active field.
Right. It's not just solving shortages. It feels like it fundamentally redefines emergency medicine, doesn't it? Getting help anywhere.
It really does. Ensuring those life-saving resources can get to you wherever you are, regardless of the local infrastructure. It's huge.
Okay, so we've tackled our internal chemistry. Let's shift focus outwards to how we see the world.
Sensory enhancements, always fascinating.
Right. What about seeing things the naked eye just can't? There's research from China on soft contact lenses that let you see near infrared light.
Ah, yes, I saw this. And the kicker is no batteries, no surgery involved.
Exactly. How does that even work?
It's down to nanoparticles, embedded right in the lens material itself. Tiny particles.
Okay.
These nanoparticles capture the incoming infrared light, which is normally invisible to us, and they perform something called up conversion.
Up conversion. Sounds technical.
It's basically a clever physics trick. They absorb the low-energy infrared light and re-emit it at a slightly higher energy, shifting it into the visible spectrum so you see it as a visible color. All done passively, no external power needed.
That's incredibly clever. Ingenious, really. Did it work? Have they tested it?
They have. Initial tests on mice were successful, and then they moved to human participants.
Yeah.
The humans were actually able to detect Morse code signals being flashed using an infrared light source, stuff they couldn't see without the lenses.
Wow.
And interestingly, they reported seeing the signals better with their eyes closed.
Closed. How does that work?
Well, near-infrared light can actually penetrate your eyelids to some degree. So closing your eyes cuts out the interference from all the normal visible light, making the faint converted infrared signal much clearer to perceive.
Huh. That's counterintuitive, but makes sense. So, applications. What are we thinking? Security, maybe?
Definitely security, maybe aiding certain types of color blindness, potentially, or even, secret communication, like the Morse code test showed.
Lots of possibilities. Are there limitations?
Yeah, the main challenge right now seems to be improving the sensitivity, making it work better with just the faint ambient infrared light that's all around us, rather than needing a specific source. But the potential is clearly there.
Okay, so augmenting external senses. Now let's turn inward again. Tackling something huge like chronic pain, but in a really novel way.
Right, moving away from just pharmaceuticals.
Exactly. This Australian team developed something called Pain Wave. It's essentially a video game for pain relief.
Sounds almost too simple, but there's serious tech involved. It uses a special helmet with brain sensors connected to an app, right?
Yeah. How does playing a game help with pain?
It's based on neurofeedback. The helmet measures your brain waves. In the game, I think it had a jellyfish theme.
Hmm.
When you generate calming brain waves, the virtual water in the game becomes clearer.
Ah, so you're training your brain.
Exactly. You're actively learning to modulate your brain activity in a way that helps block or at least turn down the volume on chronic pain signals. It's teaching the brain to regulate itself differently.
Has it shown results?
Quite impressive ones. In an initial study,
Yeah.
they focused on people with corneal neuropathic pain.
Mhm.
That's a really nasty, persistent nerve pain in the eye.
Oh,
Yeah. And they found 75% of participants got significant pain relief, comparable to taking strong analgesic drugs.
wow. Comparable to medication.
That's what the initial findings suggested. And this isn't out of the blue. It builds on like over a decade of research looking at the thalamus, the brain sensory relay station, and how its activity, its brain waves, seem to be altered in people with chronic pain.
So they're targeting that altered activity.
Precisely. They're now planning a larger study, I believe, with people who have spinal cord injuries to see if it helps there too. It feels like a real paradigm shift, doesn't it? Moving from just managing symptoms with pills to empowering you to use your own brain to control the pain, cerebral self-regulation.
That's really powerful. Okay, one more fascinating area. Another take on artificial vision, but inspired directly by nature.
Ah, the Japanese artificial eye sensor, also very cool.
Right. It operates without external power and can distinguish colors accurately.
Yeah, the design is directly mimicking the human retina, which is amazing. It uses two tiny, modified solar cells. One's tweaked to be more sensitive to blue light, the other to red light.
Like our cone cells.
Kind of, yeah. And depending on the color of the light hitting them, these cells generate opposing electrical signals. The system just looks at the combination, the balance between these signals, and that tells it precisely what color it's seeing.
Simple but effective.
Very. But it goes further. It's not just detecting color. It can apparently perform simple logical operations and even recognize basic patterns. It acts like a sort of mini optical brain, processing information instantly, right at the sensor
A
level.
mini optical brain without needing a separate processor or power source.
Exactly. That's the key. Because it's self-powered and does some processing itself, it's ideal for applications where power is extremely limited.
Like what, for instance?
Think remote environmental sensors, maybe
Mhm.
cameras that don't need to be networked or plugged in, certain types of portable medical diagnostic devices, perhaps.
Things that need to be small, autonomous, and efficient.
Precisely. They've already shown it can do things like recognize basic human movement and classify different colors quite accurately.
Mhm.
It really points towards a future of, well, more efficient and autonomous artificial vision systems for you to potentially use one day.
It's just incredible when you line them all up, isn't it? Universal blood, seeing infrared, controlling pain with your mind, self-powered artificial eyes. The line between biology and technology, it feels like it's getting blurrier by the day.
It really does. And it makes you pause and think, doesn't it? Like, how far are we actually going to go with this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
How much can we, or even should we, enhance ourselves, or maybe even transcend our natural biological limitations? It raises fundamental questions about what it means to be human when we can start adding these kinds of capabilities.
That is a powerful question.
Definitely something to ponder.
Yeah. As we keep augmenting ourselves, maybe you listening might wonder, are we going to eventually redefine what naturally human even means? Or are we just unlocking potential that was always kind of latent within us, just needing the right tools? Something to chew on, for sure.